Okay, welcome back to the Coaches Show. This edition, November 6th, here the week of 2023. We've got head men's and women's track and cross country coach Dan Meyers. Thanks for joining us this morning, Dan.
Coach, thanks for having me.
I tell you what, Coach, this was an historic weekend to say the least. Again, took some individuals up to Lock Haven, up to the historic West Branch course, and history was made, and we're going to cut right to the chase. I know we got some other kids to talk about for sure that had some strong runs up there, but history was made.
Yeah, still trying to, appreciate all the messages and everything, and all the stuff from our perspective on, Glenville athletics, pushing out, everything that Natalie did this past weekend. I think it's been well received, and I can't think of somebody that it was my first girl that I've coached that's been all region, and I can't think of someone better that represents our school and just a great individual that, I think it's hard to kind of put into words like the mountain that she had to climb as a freshman to kind of get to this point. Like I said, still kind of wrapping my head around it.
Yeah, I think, there's so many angles to look at this and how impressive it was as she was being recruited, I think the narrative was, an outstanding track girl, speed girl, that she had an upside, a future in the cross-country realm, and to do it right off the bat. It says something about the commitment she made in the off-season training and the belief to the quality days that she put before, man, the recovery, all pieces of it to get to this point with what happened at conference and now to do it up at the regional.
Yeah, and I think that just what she accomplished at conference, let alone, was awesome. And I think that we wanted to build on that going into the regional. And like I said, we didn't want the ultimate goal to be make or break, being all region for cross country, because we didn't want to have that damper any sort of the season. But now we did say hey, we're going to go run in the top 25 as long as we can and kind of see what happens. And, something I kind of took a note on was, we raced there earlier in the year and she ran the school record time at 22:26. And what's crazy is that, that wouldn't have sniffed all region if she would have ran that at the same exact time. Yeah. And they were very similar days in terms of the weather. And, obviously that meet had about 60, 70 more runners in it. But that day, I went back this morning to check, she was the 24th regional girl in that race. That meet didn't have Concord, didn't have Wesleyan, didn't have Fairmont, that all had all region girls, didn't have East Stroudsburg, didn't have Shippensburg, that was the top 4 team in the region, and didn't have Kutztown. So there's, kind of looking at it, if you would add in girls there that had better PRs or better, she was probably looking at 35th coming in, 35 to 40 on a good day. And she rose to the occasion to be able to grab that last spot, and it took it down to the last K. So, well,
and just getting to out in the weeds here a little bit with the way the race unfolded. We had it on out here on the big screen out here in the down in the department, and the first camera angle was in the corner of the cornfield, but judging by the clock, it couldn't have been a mile. It must have been a 2,000 hit that they had. And we had her in 29th. We were counting at that point. And then when she came back around, we saw the 4 and the 5, and she was at 26th at both those spots. Just how it unfolded and how she was able to move up.
Yeah, you're right. So that pack that kind of settled itself in after about the mile, or you're right about the 2K mark, kind of coming off a corner of the cornfield. That pack was anywhere from 23 to 30. And then I made kind of a mad dash across the course from 2K, which would have almost been near where they were going to mark their 3K, which I believe was at about 2,900 meters, I want to say, was the next live checkpoint. Yeah. And at that point, a few of those girls had dropped off, and it was about 26. So she rode 26 for a good, 3K probably. And I'm still trying to figure out who she actually passed, but her and the girl that finished right in front of her had to have passed someone in the final K, because she was 26 with a K to go. And she ran through a PR at 18:28. And I think most days I would have been like, holy crap. Like that's but I just, at that point, I just wanted it for her so bad because she worked so hard for it. And, I think that it shows just like the trust that, she has in me and the training and everything. The fact that like, pretty much anything that, conference goals between 11 and 14, she hung there the entire race, here at top 25, and she's just believing that she can do it. And, I'll be honest. I mean, she looked great the entire race. But at 2K through, I mean, I don't think in her life she'd ever ran a 2K that fast. And just to be able to hold on and, the last 4K and being able to grab that last all region spot, and it tabbed her as the top 3 freshman in the region. And, it's just so awesome to think that, every distance girl in the region from 800 to 10K, she's in the top 25 of them, and when it all comes together, and just a historic feat. And, I don't, in school history, we never had anyone in the top 100, and for her to be able to knock out, where she was, it's just crazy.
Well, and you were talking this morning, in the office about the race mentality that she was working with, that young lady she was with, and the fact that those two raced together, worked together, and kept contact with that pack. To be similar to up at Ogilvie a couple weeks ago, she was latched on to the pack she had to be latched on to. And what's amazing about that is after running the fastest 2 miles of her life, and then to hold that for like 8 or 9 more minutes and then muster a kick at the end. Yeah,
and she was obviously exhausted afterwards, but just even the composure she still had after the race just goes to where her strengths kind of been. And like you said, the narrative was she was an 800 girl that, obviously we were, just the natural element as, as a coach and other people that were recruiting her, she's going to be 815 girl in college. And, she was going to be a nice nugget for cross country season. But I knew last year at the state meet watching her, she was, I think, 5th or 6th in AA, and, she ran 20:26, which is crazy that through a 6K, she ran 2 minutes faster. Just a year later, but I knew there was something there. I think it was just from a volume perspective. Now she's not doing the most miles in the conference by any means, but she's just been consistent around that 40 miles a week. And she didn't miss a lot of runs. She was healthy all season, which was great. And for her to rise to the occasion at every time, the first meet, we didn't really have anybody that could kind of hang with her. So she took charge. The second meet of the season, she was racing Marshall, some D1s, and first time she saw D&E, which is now a nationals team. And like for her to mix it up with those people at that point, she knew that top 10 was getting shirts. I'm getting a shirt, and like as that kept going through the season, it was just spectacular the way that she kind of rose to the occasion every time. And, it took her knowing that she needed to beat 8 to 10 girls that, probably, on another day that, kind of coming into things that maybe she couldn't have, but, she rose to the occasion at the most ideal time. And, it's just an historic feat. I mean, as a freshman, it's crazy.
Yeah, and we let out a little yell in the hallway down here. We were counting them coming in, and it was just a roller coaster of emotions, Of course, all day with the wrestling, and we had a couple big wins in football, pulling the ones. And Natalie's really, that like set the table for the day, and not just all region, but the freaking history of it, I mean, it's Sam and Savannah. We talked Thursday, and you said sub 25. It was
24:59.
24:59.99.
Yeah.
And then we're going to put a ribbon on it, and both of them doing it. And like Savannah, she actually, you kind of threw it in her ballpark to run, and she actually wanted to run it to get the time.
Yep, absolutely. She, normally, we were just kind of. We felt like with, where the group was, that it was time for some to take a break and maybe reset our goals to regionals for next year and just kind of the longer cross season. And I was, going to take seniors right off the bat. So like, BJ and Sam and Savannah kind of, I asked after conference because she'd just been so close to Sam all year. And, she was five seconds back as Sam at the mile. But she knew to like the way they've raced all season, she had to kind of work back up to her, to have her best effort. And it was awesome. And, they both ran in high 20s for 5K. They both had 5K PRs. And, I think that, Savannah, the way she was looking at, like the sooner I got done, the sooner track season was starting. So, I think that was just kind of a motivator. And then, Samantha Dawson just, she ran on that. She volunteered 2 years ago to run on that course, and she ran mid 27s, and to see her into the 24s it just shows the testament to her. And, when I came into the program and added, some needed volume, it's easy for a girl like her to kind of step away and not kind of go through the motions. And she did it these last 3 years, and she deserved to run there. And I think that, it's awesome to see that those girls are 1, 2, 3 all time. And I know that they know with my goals for the program, Savannah and Sam at least know that, it's going to be kind of hard to hold on to those spots, but they were glad to be a part of Natalie's big season as well.
And the way I know what you've done, with your quality days, a lot of times you've had Savannah and Hannah Hill where they've, locked into some intervals or where they've matched up with Sam, and the fact that, Savannah made a big move in the middle of that race and came up on and got ahead of Sam, and she responded and latched on to her for the rest, the last, mile.
Yep. And Tuesday, and I told the girls once we were done, because it's kind of that sigh of relief, because you always wonder if the workout you do beforehand, because hay's kind of in the barn, but you want to kind of feel the wheels a little bit. And we did get on our horse a little bit on Tuesday, which was kind of risky, but I felt like if we were going for individual marks, like this is what we needed to do to be able to close. And it was just so, and not just celebrating that moment with Natalie, but then running back to see them finish and knowing that they're finishing faster than where they started, and just knowing that it wasn't that workout, but just knowing that confidence they had on the track that got them to that point was huge. So, I was just kind of crossed my fingers hoping that wasn't the wrong thing. And, you're always going to think about that in a championship race, but just a great day for the program. I did a little history look up, and it's like Natalie's time just to show just how strong our region is and our conference. Don't want to lose note of that her time, the last 2 times that race was at Lock Haven would have been top 15. One would have been a top 10 time. So just shows how deep the region is. And, congrats to, Charleston and D&E who made it as a team through, and Concord had an individual qualifier as well. So, that's the mix that, we hope to be in and hope to build a team that can kind of sustain, that type of success like they've had. And, Natalie's a great building block, and Sam has really brought us to where we are today. And I think Savannah's really locked into the big goals for the future as well.
Yeah, very exciting, very exciting. I tell you, it was a nice, topping to a really nice fall, and some things going forward. Again, with some individual performances, but it's the kind of performances that can certainly, lead to some big things on the recruiting trail. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking to those strong 8 and 15 athletes now, we got, you got a training partner that you can say, looky here.
Yep.
Look.
Absolutely. We were talking about this morning, Kelsey Chambers, Sid Pinot, 2 of the poster children or poster girls for our conference over the last decade. They weren't all region as freshmen. Yep. And they had historic careers that have really built the women's running scene in our conference. And it's just crazy to think that, where she's starting at, and we're even more excited for the 8 and 15 on the track and some stuff she'll do indoors.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Coach, tell you what, we really appreciate you taking the time to come in here this morning. I know it was a little skip in our step this morning. I was couldn't wait to see you.
Yep.
I saw you on the way out here Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But we've, anyway, just great performance this weekend, historic weekend for the cross-country team. And, Coach, thank you for joining us.
Yep. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, welcome back to the Coaches Show. And our guest for this segment is head soccer coach J.R. Dodson. Coach, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks to be here, Coach. Always glad to be here.
Tell you what, last year, to think that we could be having this conversation today, coming off a quarterfinal playoff matchup in which you went toe-to-toe with the number 1 seed from the North. They got presented the trophy there, and they had to fight to earn that win against us there, 1-0 up at Frostburg. Just some takeaways. First off, on the game itself.
We knew it was going to be a tough fight. Frostburg, they're the same team year in, year out. Great team. We knew it was going to be a fight. And I think especially in the second half, I thought our girls really kind of took control of that game. We just kind of our problem this year, we just couldn't find the back of the net. Hannah Hill had a great shot, and their goalkeeper made a miraculous save on it. But to take away from the game, I'll tell you, Coach, what I took away the most from that game is that our girls want to win the championship next year. That's what I take from that game. Our girls fought hard, a lot of tears on the field after that game, and it was just it was emotional for them, which just shows how much they're buying into the program now. And that's our biggest takeaway. I think I would love to be playing them again tomorrow.
Yeah. And you're right. There was never an attitude of just happy to be there. And at the end, it wasn't like, oh, it was a good season. Like they wanted to knock them off, and then were legitimately like tore up that they didn't knock them off.
Yeah, I think they expected it. Our even some of the players that didn't get in the field were upset. It was a full team effort, and for me, coming, this being the third season coaching here, and me seeing that, it really excited me. Tough loss, tough battle, and then to come away knowing how much they're buying in gets me excited for next year, and we're starting today.
I mean, has it settled in as far as the significance of being a playoff team and coming off being picked last and, coming and making the playoff field? The significance of the playoff appearance.
I don't think it has quite hit the girls yet. It has me. I was emotional before that game, knowing what they've accomplished and what the future holds. I don't think we're, to be honest, Coach, I think we're only going to lose 2-3 starters.
Yeah.
So I think they're excited, but I don't think they realize just how close they were, because you mentioned it to me earlier in the week that you did the stats and what was that again? 5
of the 10 losses and all 3 of the ties, we had outshot the opponent. And so just on possession, there could have, it's not far-fetched to say there could have been 8 more wins. It could have been 13-5 going into the end of the playoffs.
So that's what our goal will be next year. Is we want to be a 1 or 2 seed going into this playoffs next year, and we want to be an over 10-win team for sure.
Absolutely. Well, looking ahead, you mentioned the folks coming back. What does this set the table for? What are some goals that you're looking for down the road now?
Well, we'll be looking to bring in players to fill in those spots that are leaving. We're gonna go after some pacey, really good midfielders. Talking to a Honduras young lady now and a girl from Scandinavia that I think could come in and do some wonders. They're even thinking about coming in the spring to get with the team early. It's made a big difference recruiting wise as well. I'm getting players reaching out to me where last year I'm fighting to find players to come on a team that didn't win a game. So I think people, and the perception is they see that it's turning, and I think we're right there on the edge. So our goals looking ahead is we want to have a really good spring season to keeping the team together, doing some things that maybe sometimes even outside of soccer to keep that team together, to be gearing up for next fall. Another big one for me, Coach, is Mackenzie Hendricks.
Yeah.
Right? It's been around the program since a freshman. She has 1 more year left, and I can remember after last year, it was like, I don't know if I want to play. And on the way home yesterday, she was like, "You've got to find another midfielder. Can you find another?" She's already thinking we can win this thing. Yeah. So that's exciting for me. So our goals moving forward is just to keep the needle pushing. Get a little better every year. But we want to be in the thick of things. We want people to be talking about Glenville State women soccer.
No, I tell you, it was a big step, and I know there was I know you caught a lot of it too, coming out of there yesterday. A lot of positivity from the Frostburg folks saying, how much the program had improved and how hard we battled them. Yeah. And I don't think they took us lightly. I don't, but I think certainly earned the respect of their fan base, which is pretty rabid. He has 11 starters there from Maryland, and they're all from those big time clubs up there. So I think they know good soccer when they see it. So it's certainly good to hear that tip of the cap from so many individuals up there.
For sure. Another great thing was the positivity, even from our parents that made that trip and that were there.
Oh, tremendous! Yeah,
I thought it was great. All of them coming up to the players and talking to me, and I think everything was just. We just needed the win, Coach. We just needed the win, and it's a heartbreaker. But again, I'm excited for where the program's going.
Yeah, a lot of good players coming back. Certainly looking to getting a few ads as well. So, Coach, really historic season. Really appreciate you taking the time to come in here with us, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
All right, thank you, Coach Skiles.
Hey, thank you, Coach.
Welcome back inside the Waco Center for this week's edition of the Pioneer Coach Show. With me right now, I've had head wrestling coach Dylan Cottrell. Coach, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for bringing me back for another week.
So last week, a busy week for you. You started out at Buffalo with the duels there. Just talk about how that went for you guys and how you feel about that.
I think results-wise, it went as expected, right? We're not supposed to beat a Division I program that's mid-tier in the MAC, but I think we went up there and was competitive, right? We had a couple starters out, which that's the whole season in wrestling, right? You battle the whole time trying to get. And a lot of times it really isn't, but a few times here and there when you got their whole squad together, right, and you're hoping to get to the end of the line with it. So I thought the attitude and effort, which we talk about a lot, was great, right? Our guys wrestled tough. We went out there, took care of business against Niagara and Brockport, and was able to wrestle some of our backups, at this point in some of those matches, and I thought they did really well. Some of our freshmen up there, so they're continuing to progress. So for us, again, it's all practice until we get to those, postseason. But I thought it was a good weekend. I thought we wrestled well against Buffalo. We had a little injury that happened that was kind of rough on ballooning the score. I thought the duel was a little closer than the score was, but it served its purpose for sure. I think it gave I think it was just an exciting thing to have as a caveat for our guys for the whole time during preseason that, hey, the first weekend we get to go wrestle a Division I team.
Exactly.
So I thought that was cool for them just to, kind of when they're looking down the road, all right, first time we really need to get ready, right? And me as a coach, I was able to use that, and that program, right? Stutz runs a good program, but he coaches a lot like I do in the fact that, we can't control much as coaches here, but we can control the shape that our guys are in. And I never want to have a program where my guys are losing matches because they're out of shape, and he runs, kind of the same thing. So I was able to kind of use that for our guys and, hey, we got to work because you're going to go up there and those guys are going to hand fight you and they're going to wrestle you hard for 7 minutes. You're not going to get one of these teams that, open with a Division II and they're not in great shape. These guys are going to be in shape. You better be ready to go for 7 minutes. And I thought we did a really good job with that.
When you use that momentum, you go Saturday, you host the first ever Glenville State Invitational. You finished third in a very competitive field, 11-team field. What are your thoughts on Saturday's performance?
I talked to Coach Skiles about it a lot throughout the day, and it was ups and downs, right? And that's expected kind of in that first week, right? You turn around from Buffalo. But I thought even with, we come back, we wrestle Buffalo Wednesday, Thursday off, Friday, one practice. I thought we made adjustments even with that one practice into Saturday. I was a lot, again, attitude and effort was good. It was actually better Saturday. But, little adjustments that some of our guys made just from one practice, that's tough. So we had some guys that really fought through the backside, which I liked. Going and scoring points, our national champ was pushed, right, by a really good wrestler. A couple things that he could have did different in that match to really change the score of that, but it was great for him, right? That's what he needed. Because we went to Buffalo and just ran through everybody. So he needed that. All of our guys in general, they needed some of those matches that they got this weekend, whether it was wins or losses. So again, that thought process to them and trying to remind some of them, hey, it's November 4th, right? We got a long way to go. It's okay if we drop one right now. because, that doesn't really affect anything. We just got to be good at regional times. So, some of our guys come off, they're frustrated. After they lose a match, so we got to get them positive again and say, hey, we had some positives in this match. Let's make sure that we're getting back to that. But yeah, I thought it was a good weekend. Some of those teams are really tough, right? Millersville has a heck of a team, and they brought down their full team, right? Like they were healthy. They brought everybody there. Ashland did not. Ashland had multiple guys out, kind of like us. So, Ashland's going to be tough. They're going to be tough this year. It wouldn't surprise me if, at multiple times that they're the top team in the region, going back and forth. As long as they stay healthy, they're kind of in the same position as us, right? They stay healthy, they're going to be there at the end of the year. So, I think to be honest, Millersville won it because they were the healthiest team right now. Mm-hmm. Nothing away from them. They're really solid. This is the best team Millersville's had in a while. Kutztown had some really good guys as well. Those top 4 teams that were ranked. But us and Ashland, I think when we get our full lineups in, those are going to be some teams that are really tough. So, but overall, yeah, happy. And I was really happy with how the tournament ran, right? This is the first tournament that we've hosted here. With that, the tournament director did great. The administration did great. My guys that were working the tables did awesome. And then, that allowed me to just kind of sit back and enjoy. I was roaming a lot through the day, just kind of coaching on the side, letting Coach Andrietta do a lot of the corner work. So it was nice. I thought it was a really good day overall. I was very happy with the wrestling and very happy with how the event went. And then, backing onto that, right, I was very happy with how our practice went this morning, mm-hmm. right? We had our 6 a.m. this morning, and it was based on all the critiques that we needed from that. And I thought we had a great day this morning, right? With a lot of guys that were able to wrestle 6 matches this weekend and then come in on Monday and still be able to go into a hard practice. That's really good, right? That doesn't happen a lot because those tournaments, 6 matches, that's a lot of banging around for most of our team to be able to come back in today and be able to practice. So that's what we need. Yeah, so overall, very, very happy with the weekend.
I mean, that was an invitational where you had 4 ranked teams. You finished 3rd in it, and then you're looking forward now to next week. You talked about, you had a day off on Thursday. You had 1 practice on Friday. Now you kind of get to reset. You get a week. Guys get their legs back under them. I mean, you got Case Western, the invitational there. That's been going on for a very long time. And what are your expectations going up there on Saturday?
Yeah, we're looking to, for a lot of our freshmen, right? A lot of our freshman red shirts will be going. So they have a freshman sophomore division. So getting against those guys, getting matches. I think most of our starters are going to go. So I really haven't talked to them yet. This week is kind of going to be optional for our starters, right? I know I talked to Kyocho this morning, and he wants to go because of, there's going to be multiple Division I's there as well, right? With either red shirts or, maybe a couple teams bring their starters and he wants to be pushed. So, excited to go up there and just get some more wrestling in. Hopefully kind of the same thing, right? When we get done, that we see the process and see what's working for us, what's not working for us. I think some of our guys found some stuff that they really liked in their matches this weekend, and were able to kind of figure out that game plan of what they want from the time they step on the mat to the time they get off, and what they want that match to look like. So that's some of the stuff. We just, the more mat time we get, the better we're going to be. We just got to stay healthy when we do it, right? But yeah, we're excited to go up to Case Western this week. Like you said, it's that invite, it's an open. That open's been around forever. So you're going to have multiple Division I's. You're going to have, I think I looked today, maybe 6 teams in our region are there, right? So a lot of regional competition as well. So hopefully for some of our guys, we run into some of those regional guys that are ranked above us and steal some of their regional rankings as well.
Yeah. Well, it was a very exciting first week of wrestling. I mean, the expectations are high coming into the year with the number 2 seed, but I mean, I think so far it definitely lived up to that, and we're looking forward to this coming weekend. But I'd like to thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it. We'll do it again here soon.
Welcome back into the Waco Center for this week's edition of Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head men's basketball coach Bob Bolen. Coach, thanks for being here.
Jagger, glad to be here.
So, Coach, you take the job during the summer off of an outstanding coaching career. At the NAIA level. You were doing play-by-play there for a while. Now you're back. How does it feel to be back into the coaching?
Oh, it's tiresome. No, I enjoy being back in coaching, being around the guys, enjoying Glenville a lot, and the support you get here at Glenville. And it's been a positive event so far.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And now, the whole recruiting aspect is, over from when you come into the summer. Looking into Friday, starting out the year with Gannon. What have you seen so far from them looking into the game?
From Gannon?
Yeah.
Well, they have a new coaching staff.
Brand new.
4 of the 5 starters are brand new, 2 Division I transfers. So I've really just got to watch personnel. And you would assume that the coach came from Nova Southeastern, that they'll be pressing. And we've talked to some people. They had a few scrimmage games, so they're going to be pressing, playing that West Liberty style. So very difficult task for your first game playing against that. But we'll be prepared.
And then looking into Saturday, you have Salem, which is down in Charleston, the Atlantic region tip-off. What have you seen from Salem so far?
Yeah, Salem, again, another new coaching staff. So when you look at last year, you're just looking at personnel. I know Salem has a really good power forward back. He was one of their best players last year. And I know he's an inside-out player, really tough. Concentrating on Gannon now, but we will have stuff ready for Salem on Saturday. But they have 2 or 3 experienced guards back, kind of thicker, tough guards, kind of older players. So there'll be a tough challenge also.
I mean, in looking at you guys, you bring back Turbo Smith, all-team or an all-conference player last year. You bring back Jalen Johnson, a couple other key returners. You bring in some transfers, guys like Devin Collins, transfer from Pikeville, Dominic Penn from Seattle University. How confident are you going into the weekend with what you have so far?
Well, I mean, it's been more difficult than I expected trying to blend returning guys with new guys.
Yeah.
And so that's been a challenge. We got hired May 8th, and that was the day that everybody went home. So never got to see any of these kids in person that returned. So we were kind of behind the 8 ball there to start out, but have great kids. They've worked really hard. If we shoot the ball well, we'll be competitive, and we got a chance to have a good team. If we don't hit shots, that changes things. We had one scrimmage where we hit shots and played really well, and we had one scrimmage where we didn't play well. So, that's a task ahead of us. But I do think we have some talent, we have some quickness. We're a little undersized, but you'll see a team out there fighting till the end, and we'll get after it.
I mean, because we had the scrimmage here a few weeks ago with Rio Grande. I know Devin was battling some injuries there. You got some playing time. When you look at the roster, how deep do you think you can go this year with the guys you have?
It's, we're trying to go 8, 9, 10 deep. Turbo Smith got hurt this weekend, so we hope he's back by the weekend. So you're always going to battle injuries, and when that happens, the next guy just has to step up.
Yep.
But right now, probably looking at playing 9 or 10.
Well, I mean, we're excited just to get the season started. Basketball season's always a fun time, and just to wish you luck this weekend. And I appreciate you coming on today, Coach.
Well, I'm glad to be here, and we will be ready to go this weekend and go Pioneers.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Welcome back inside the Waker Center for this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head women's basketball coach Emily Stoller. Coach, thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, season, kind of snuck up on us. Start this Friday with Gannon. Just initial thoughts on them.
Yeah, a really tough opponent right off the bat for a new team, new coaching staff here. We're excited to get underway. We know it's going to be hard competition going up that way, but we're ready for the challenge.
And looking into Saturday, you have Clarion. I mean, what do you expect out of them?
Like I said, right off the bat, 2 games in a row. It's going to be tough. Got to get our legs back underneath of us and, rely on our principles going into the game. But like I said, we're ready to get it going and get it going under the way.
I mean, it was a real nice welcome to coaching with the way the schedule panned out. Gannon, NCAA tournament team last year, Clarion, and then you open up the MEC with West Virginia State and Charleston, the top 2 teams in the league in front of you. I mean, you panned out the roster, you reloaded with some transfers, as the Stetson transfer, John Schuler, Lauren Calhoun from Wheeling, just to name a few. How confident are you with going into the weekend?
As confident as we can be as a coaching staff. I do realize this is probably one of the hardest schedules that we've ever put together in Pioneer basketball. we're ready for the challenge. We're ready to hit this stretch of games. I think I've been telling my girls we have 5 games in the next 12 days. So it's going to be a hard time period, especially on our legs with the style of play that we like to run, and to keep the game at the pace that we need. We need to be getting treatment and getting our rest. So that's going to be important here in the next 12 days.
Yeah. At MEC Media Day, you talked about the mentality of your girls. I mean, do you feel like that they have lived up to, because the style of play you play, you want people on the floor, you want fast paced. Do you think that they're living up to what you guys expect? Yeah,
I think, I could say solidly here in the preseason that we have seen moments of Pioneer basketball, and that really excites me. Mm-hmm. I think if we bring that in and that mentality and that mindset into every game, we'll be just fine, and the rest will take care of itself.
And the last thing I want to ask you, I know over the weekend you had a story with NCAA.com with your sister, Abby. What is it like coaching with your sister?
Oh, it's unbelievable, and just nothing that anyone can ever imagine. Like I said in the interview, we do realize that it's something special, and it's really not normal to be, playing with your sister, let alone coaching with your sister at the college level. All glory to God for that, putting the pieces in the right play. And, it's great having someone, on the bench that you can trust and rely on in a different type of way.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we look forward to this weekend. I just like to, wish you good luck, and we appreciate you coming on today.
Thank you. Appreciate you for having me.
Welcome back inside the Waco Center. And for today's episode of the Pioneer Coach Show, with me now I have head football coach Mike Kellar. Coach, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So as usual, we'll start out just your initial thoughts on Saturday's big road win against Frostburg State.
Yeah, it was it was a good day. I mean, we traveled the right way. I felt good about the trip. I felt really good about the matchup. My wife, she told me Saturday when we were getting home, she's like, I could tell all week you really thought you were going to win. I'm like, well, coming off what we did the week before, I was probably one of the few people that did. But you really, you just look at it and you see how you match up with certain people. Now, I didn't think we were necessarily going to win, but I didn't think we were going to lose. If I really look at this thing, there are a few teams in this league, a couple that just from an athletic standpoint, they're hard to keep up with, and then everyone else is about the same. And I don't go in those games thinking, oh, well, we got her made, and I don't go in those games thinking we're going to get beat. I just go in the game like whoever plays better today can win this ball game. So I like the matchup with Frostburg all week. I think they're a very good team. They're well coached. It's an unbelievably beautiful campus.
Oh, yeah.
It's my son Anthony went there for a semester. He visited here, visited there, and he ended up going there. He graduated from WVU, but he ended up going to Frostburg. So I knew the place really well. The AD and them all came up to me before the game, and we were all BSing because I used to go visit Delane and the staff up there all the time. I was like a de facto assistant coach there for a year. When Anthony was going to school. So it was they got a beautiful facility, a really good, well coached football team, long, pretty, good team, and all that all being said, our kids really came out and played hard and played physical, and we were aggressive, faked a punt, tried an onside, and did all those things. But at the end of the day, you watch the tape, we could have won the game. If we could catch the ball, we win the game by a couple scores.
Mm-hmm.
We hit their Frostburg, but it's just it's more what I'm trying to say. Nothing negative toward them. I think they're a very good program. They're excellent. But if we show up and we play, we're as good as anybody. The problem is we're not better than anybody. It's the same game week in, week out, and it's about that weekend's how the ball bounces for you a little bit.
Last week we talked about motivation. Coming off the 49-0 defeat, I think a lot of people would struggle to find motivation.
Sure.
And for Frostburg, they're coming in with implications, not just for conference, but for to make the playoffs. And they're coming in 6-2. They're a game back of first place in the conference. They're 5th in the super region rankings. How did you get your guys to know like this? Because a lot of people could look at it. You come in. The season's not over, but you're not going to win the conference title. Yeah. But you can come in and still make an impact.
Yeah, well, none of that because none of that matters. Mm-hmm. That's all for sports information directors and people on Twitter. And my guys are playing ball.
100%.
And that's what I try to explain to them. And I can't get them all to think like that. If they all thought like I did, and just didn't listen to any of that. You know, what's Nick Saban say? All that poison, all that noise. If you just ignore that, I mean, I can't tell you what place we're in. You know, I mean, people are like, "Oh, you don't care." Well, yeah, I care. I mean, I want to be in first place, but you know, no, I'm not worried about that. I can't think about that. I got to think about, you know, that day's task. You know, right now, I mean, I watched Wesleyan hasn't won a game. I've been wearing myself out on Wesleyan tape and scared to death that we're not going to show up and play hard. I mean, each game's its own entity. You live from week to week during football season. And then when the season's over, you look back and go, okay, this is where we're at. This is what we got to do. This is what we could do to improve on. This is the guys we need to keep. These are the guys we need to get rid of. These are whatever it is, you know. So in all honesty, I told the team in pregame, I said, there's no one here who thinks you're going to win. Everyone who's looking at what you were just talking about, the implications and their record, and they're at home and it's their senior day, I said, all of them think you're losing. But I don't, you know, because none of that has to do with blocking and tackling.
Yep.
If you go out and block and tackle and throw and catch, you win the game. And, you know, when you got a freshman team, they don't think like that. But this team been around for a couple of years, and they kind of think like that. And hopefully I can continue to get them to think like that, because most of them will be around for a couple more years. So, you know, that could be you know, all those days are learning experiences.
And fast forward into Saturday, like you talked about, Wesleyan hasn't won a game yet, coming off a 55-20 defeat Fairmont State at home during their senior day. Just so far, what have you seen from them?
Well, I mean, obviously they're struggling a little bit. You know, I will say, watching them on tape, they're playing two quarterbacks. The one kid's a pretty good thrower of the football, gets it out on time. He doesn't always get a lot of protection. The other kid could run the ball, you know, gets away from pressure a little bit better. Both those guys, you know, scary. I talked to two coaches yesterday that have played them this year and said as much, you know, as what we've seen. You know, I mean, when you struggle like that, obviously you're not killing it up front. Defensively, they got a couple really big, stout, 300-pound plus guys in there. There are four down front. You know, the biggest thing you got to do in games like this, because my players, you know, whether I like it or not, are going to hear all this stuff, and I don't like it, but they're going to hear this stuff, and they're going to think that way, is for us just to set the tone as coaches. And I told the coaches today, I said, no, I mean, last year with 3.5 minutes to go in the second quarter, we're down 14-13, you know, and I took a picture of that scoreboard and sent it to the whole team this morning. And we went down, and Bellamy made a great catch on a corner route, and we went to the half 20-14. We get the ball the first drive, we fumble it, bad snap over All-American center, snaps it over the quarterback's head. We get a fumble, our defense holds them, and then we hit a long touchdown to Zay Huff to make it 28-13, and that really put the game away. You know, so and they didn't. I don't think they'd won a game last year, maybe one. You know, they'd won one game last year, and it was the last game of the year. So it's really has nothing to do with Wesleyan. It really has nothing to do with, you know, Frostburg a week ago or the Pembroke the week before. It's really about Glenville. And I mean, someone's going to have to explain momentum to me one day, because I've never seen it. I mean, I've saw, like, you know, a ball rolling down a hill and it gathered momentum, but I've never seen the momentum. All that other stuff's just in kids' heads. And if we could ever get to thinking right, you know, then we could just play the play in front of us. And that's really just because you hit the last ball in the woods, you know, in golf don't mean the next ball's hitting in the woods. There's no such thing. It's just in your head. You got to go through your fundamentals. You got to hit the ball, make it square, go toward the hole. It's the same thing shooting a basketball or anything else. I'm preaching a little now, but I'm trying to get that message to the team of, listen, man, it's all about what we do. I
mean, because they can't avoid knowing that Wesleyan hasn't won a game. They've been dominated all year.
Sure.
How do you make sure that these guys know, like, this, they're not just going to come in here and lay down? Like, this is still a game.
Because it's period 7 on Tuesday and it's versus scout team, and we don't do it hard, I yell at them. You know, so that's how we kind of do it. You know, it's very much about our standard and what we do. It's the reason why, you know, I don't think, you know, there's some questionable stuff is how the ball bounced in the Charleston game and how hard we played that second half. But it's the same reason why the following week, after a bad week against Charleston, the following week when you're down 41-7 against West Liberty at halftime, how you lose the game 48-41. You make it come back, because it's just about what's in front of you. So that's going to be the thing this week. Today's Fundamental Monday, and I'm already prepared. I'm already going to this practice upset, because I know how we're going to be thinking. Everyone all week told them how good they are. You know, I told Jesse when he called me this morning, I said, no, I don't want no data, boys. I don't want to hear how good we did against Frostburg. I don't care. You know, I don't need patted on the rear end to tell them I'm good. It's like, okay, we coached the best we could. We lost. We coached the best we could. We won. Now it's its own week. It's its own entity. Let's go into this game here against Wesleyan and be the best. And the hell of it is it's football. Like if you don't respect it, it will bite you.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And I mean, you're talking injuries, you're talking upset victory, you're talking a lot of things. So if you don't have a standard of the way you want to do stuff, and we will, our kids will. They're those kind of guys. I mean, if they weren't, then you don't beat. Some of the teams we beat do some things this program's done without having the right type of kid.
100%. And, wish you luck with Saturday's Senior Day matchup, and we appreciate you coming on today, Coach.
Oh, thank you so much.